From signing a Supermax contract worth over $250 million to the way it compares to the rest of the stars in the league, Bradley Beal has the worst contract in the NBA, and it's not even close. A $251 million contract paid over 5 years. How do you explain that? Bonkers. It's unbelievable that the Wizards agreed to pay Beal that much. I mean, I understand that some players are still getting paid a lot more than the Wizards point guard, but this is an abomination in every way. There's absolutely no justifying the amount he's earning, because it's not like they're paying this money to a Steph Curry or a LeBron James. They're paying it to Beal, a player who's been to the NBA playoffs a total of 5 times in his career, and he's been in the NBA for over a decade now. In fact, things seem far worse when you look at the last 5 years in isolation, further confirming the suspicions that this might just be the worst contract in the NBA at the moment. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic player. Career averages of over 22 points per game on 46% field shooting, and over 4 assists and 4 rebounds is decent. But say what you want, these aren't the numbers that should force the front office into paying a player over $250 million in a 5-year contract. No freaking way. I'd go as far as to say that it's not even the money that's the problem here. It's actually the length of the contract. Basically, the Wizards handed Beal a 5-year contract when he was 29 years old. Honestly, the more you think about this contract, the more absurd it sounds. How is it possible for the Washington franchise to come to this conclusion, that at 29 years old, Beal's a good investment to keep around for 5 years? I'd understand to some extent if he was a force of nature like LeBron James, never having any health and availability concerns and all that. But even then, it'd be a massive risk because injuries are a common theme in basketball. Anyone can get injured. So handing over such sure-shot contracts almost never works out. In fact, it's only poor judgment from the front office to think that Beal's worthy of all that, especially when you look at his availability record. When Beal arrived in the NBA, on the basis of his first 5 or 6 seasons, I'd completely understand the plan of handing him this kind of money and such a long commitment. He was improving as a player, getting better and better with every passing season.
Beal against Windler. Beal working in traffic, looked for the foul, didn't get the call, but Beal now in double figures with 10.
And it seemed like he'd enter his peak by the time he hit his mid-20s. Unfortunately, to make this decision after the last 3 seasons he's played in the NBA, where he's only regressed as a player, makes little to no sense, particularly when you notice the no-trade clause that the Wizards added. Remember, the Wizards made this decision last summer, right after Beal had missed nearly half a season due to various injuries. Even in the previous season, the 29-year-old wasn't in serious all-star contention, having his lowest efficiency offensively, and the number of three-pointers made along with the three-point percentage were both career lows. I'd place him under the tag of a sub-all-star player after summer 2022, which is exactly when the Wizards decided to put all their eggs in one basket and make him sign a contract that not only handicaps the franchise, but also doesn't benefit them in any way. Because Beal has all the power when it comes to getting traded. No other player in the league has a no-trade clause in his contract. It means that if the Wizards get an offer which they deem worthy of Beal's value, they still can't trade him without his consent. And if he does agree to leave, he can choose not to play for the team with the best return package. More importantly, if they weren't already regretting the contract right after putting it in front of Beal, the Wizards will definitely give it a long, hard look after the kind of season he's had this year. Yep, a 3-time All-Star is regressing in every way. On average, this season, Beal played the lowest minutes per game in his career since 2015-16, something that the contract he's on certainly doesn't justify. More importantly, he's missed 30 games and counting for the Wizards. That's 10 games more than last season. Ultimately, over the course of the last 4 seasons, Beal has missed a grand total of 121 games and counting. Yet the Wizards went ahead with that contract. Something that will go down in history as one of the most bizarre decisions ever. Unfortunately, things aren't looking better when he does actually play. After averaging over 30 points a season in the 2019, 2020, and 2020-2021 seasons, Beal's scoring average has taken a big hit and is down to 23 points per game over the last 2 seasons combined. The shooting splits look better this time around, but what is it worth when he's not even playing? And when it's all said and done, Beal will still have 4 years left on his contract. With natural regression comes a massive worry for the Wizards, especially when you consider the fact that he'll earn $57 million in his final year. It just doesn't get better, does it? The former all-rookie selection has already shown signs of regression with age, and more will follow as he'll be 30 before the next season begins. But for the Wizards, it's super scary. They're only going to be paying Beal more and more money every year until he turns 33. And he played only 50 games this season, in what can be considered a prime year for Beal. Next season, at 30 years of age, the point guard will make a staggering $46.7 million, $3 million more than he made this season. And it was an extremely subpar one, to say the least. The season after that, at 31, Beal will earn $4 million more, taking his total up to an unexplainable $50 million. Earning $53 million at the age of 32 and peaking at $57 million at the age of 33. I don't have words. How could any front office do something this terrible? And they're already paying the cost for it too. But it doesn't matter because Beal also holds the cards as he has the player option in the final season. Unbelievably ridiculous, honestly speaking. Yet it gets worse. Because Beal compares terribly to the other high earners across the league. There really is an imposter when you look at the biggest moneymakers in the NBA currently, and it's Bradley Beal. Because only 11 players in the NBA have more guaranteed money in their current contracts than Beal. That list includes MVP winners like Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and some of the MVP candidates like Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, along with deserving All-Stars and All-NBA selections like Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns, Trae Young, Zion Williamson, Darius Garland, and Damian Lillard. And next year, when Beal makes over $46 million, he'll be among the top 6 highest paid players. That list includes LeBron James, Curry, KD, Beal, Embiid, and Nikola Jokic, in that very order. How the hell is Bradley making more money than the 2 biggest MVP candidates of this season? And nearly as much as 3 multiple-time NBA winners. All one can do is hope that the Wizards realize and accept their mistake, and then they will do what they can to resolve that issue. Of course, it can be fixed. It means some ugly business, like taking back bad contracts, but shorter ones in exchange for Beal, along with some draft assets. But they'll still be able to get out of it. If they don't, well, then they'll be paying out the worst contract in the NBA for the next few years. But given some of their decisions recently, I wouldn't expect the Wizards to sort it out. So from making more money than some of the best players in the NBA currently, to earning a massive $251 million contract paid over 5 years, Bradley Beal really does have the worst contract in the NBA.